Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of My Political Truth. My name is Jerry Tomchinsky and today I'm joined once again, your second visit here, Freddie Rubino, comedian, and I'm ready for you this time.
Salute, my friend.
Salute, all the best. Freddie, before we get started, I want to promote your comedy night. You got it coming up at the Trump National Golf Course in Pine Hill, New Jersey on Friday, September 18th of this year. 7 to 10. It says here you come on at around 8 o'clock or so. Is that accurate?
It sounds right. It sounds good, depending on how the food is. If the food's really good, I'll go on later because I like to stuff my face. You know, get as much bang for the buck. But it's for a Republican club in Jersey. We're trying to turn Jersey red.
Yeah, Jersey needs it. Speaking of trying to turn Jersey red, did you watch that embarrassing interview with Chris Wallace and Phil Murphy the other day?
I didn't catch the whole thing, but this guy Murphy, it's like they dropped him out like from another planet. You ask him a question, and he just goes off on what it's like, oh, yes, well, we're going to try our best to protect against. You got 1% positive in your state. Why aren't you opening? And he just goes off. Oh, because, you know why? We have to keep people safe. It's such a money grab. It's a shakedown. There'll be 0 cases. And they'll say, no, we got to keep everything shut down. It's a disgrace. Jersey and New York are a disgrace.
It's unbelievable. And I watched, I would say probably 75% of that interview, right? And
well, you're brave.
Tell me, listen, I got to do this. And you know what? Most of the time I watch the Communist News Network and MSDNC, whatever you want to call it. I do it for a laugh because these people, they just can't tell the truth. They're not capable of telling the truth, no matter what it is. They just are. If it benefits President Trump 1 iota, they don't care about the truth. The truth doesn't really matter to them.
You know, I can't blame them for that because they're politicians. They're born to lie. But the people who vote for them, if you can't see through these people and you still go to the poll and vote for them, when they started saying he's putting children in cages, which isn't a bad idea, by the way, okay? There's a lot of kids that belong in cages, but needless to say, he's putting in cages. Could you believe it? And then they find out Obama built all the cages. In fact, Obama doubled the amount of cages from before. They don't care. No. They don't look at that and go, oh, wait a minute, I was against cages. Now I find out it was him. I got a different opinion. No different opinion.
Nope.
Nothing. Everything is still good. All the bullshit, and they eat it up. More. They want more bullshit.
All day. It's unbelievable. And, you know, when I speak to people that don't agree, let's say, with my point of view, and I'm going to be nice about it, and I tell them, you know, they ask me, well, what has President Trump done? And I would say 60% of his accomplishments memorized. And I say, well, is the first step back not important? He signed the exact bill that Biden put into effect and co-signed in '94 to give first-time offenders maximum prison sentences. And that's not good either. He can't do that right either. It's unbelievable.
And you know what? You know, it's a great thing. I seen it on Facebook. There's a guy going out there and he gives these liberals Biden and Obama quotes. And he tells them, what do you think if Trump said that? And they go, you see that he's a racist? What would you say if he said that black people are just as smart as white people, something like that?
No, this was, we can't mess this up. Joe Biden's, that quote, Joe Biden said that poor kids are just as smart as white kids.
Right.
Can you imagine if Trump said that?
All black people are poor. He doesn't give them any, and then the people freak out. That's what I mean. That's why Trump, and then he says, well, Biden said that. Doesn't make a difference. Right. Doesn't make a difference.
Just last week, he comes on and he made that comment about the Latinos and the blacks. He said Latinos are diverse, where black people are basically a one road town.
That's it. He doesn't understand that there are black Jamaicans,
No.
Black Americans, Black Italians, Black South Americans. He doesn't understand that there is a Black culture in almost every country that's different from the Black culture of the other country. That is the most racist thing he's ever said. And it doesn't matter to these people.
No.
It's the people. It's not them. Listen, if they said, look, the guy's juggling babies that are on fire, they'll be like, okay, I understand, but we got to get Trump out of there. That's all they care. It's a derangement. I never seen anything like it in my life.
No, this is a sickness. And I think a derangement is a really polite way of calling these imbeciles what they are. They're imbeciles. They're not smart people. They don't care about the facts. Their Trump derangement and their hatred for him is more important than the country's future or their own personal happiness and freedom, which in turn, I don't think they care. As long as they're going to be getting a couple of $100s a month from the government, they don't care as long as they don't got to go to work.
Right. These are low-class people. And you know what? Also, with like places like New York and stuff like that, New York, they killing the restaurant industry just so that they can shake down the federal government. New York is the greatest restaurant city in the entire world. Chefs, 5-star chefs come from all over the world to open up in New York. This guy is killing that. It's almost dead as it is. So I'm thinking, why aren't there lawyers making a class action suit for all restaurants in New York? Class action suit, every restaurant's in on it, sue the city for everything. This guy has to relent. I don't know why lawyers ain't do. They do it for everything. A mesh, a hernia, silicone implants, ass implants. But what about the restaurant industry?
You know, and again, people are going to call me a conspiracy theorist, but I can see people getting together and starting something like that, and then the government just shutting them down, low key, quietly, so the press doesn't get a hold of it. They don't want to seem like the bad guys, which they are. Yeah, they're the most evil people around.
A big law firm
I agree.
could do this. I mean, they've gotten millions of dollars from Dow because of baby powder. If you would have told me that people were going to get money because they use baby powder on their kids, I would say, what are you, crazy? It's baby powder. They get a $1 billion settlement.
Everybody sues everybody for everything, and they can't get a case together for this. It's ridiculous. I don't know. And then Cuomo, this idiot, he goes on the DNC yesterday. He was one of the people that gave the speech yesterday. Mind you, I think there were like 12 people that spoke. Not one of them talked about policy. They all talked about how good of a leader Biden would be and how terrible the big bad orange man is. Now,
right.
Even better, Cuomo says that COVID is not the symptom, it's the illness. And he's talking about how he was just patting himself on the back, how New York handled it. 32,000 plus dead, more than 4 of the states put together, more than Florida, Georgia, Texas, and I forget one more. They had 29,000 put together. He had 32,000 plus, and he's the top notch. Oh, I can't.
Let me tell you, Florida has more people than the state of New York.
Yep.
They had more COVID positives than the state of New York, and they had less deaths than the state of New York. They have more hot spots in Florida as far as tourism. Miami and Orlando are like the 2 biggest tourist places in the United States. And still, Florida has less deaths. And we have more old people, which are the highest risk group. Right. This guy single-handedly killed more old people than Dr. Kevorkian on his best day, the doctor of death. This guy is I don't know how he didn't get sued in a class action suit. That's got to be down the line. Down the line, there's got to be lawyers looking at this and say, this is an open and shut case. This guy sent people in to die. It's got to be.
No, 100%. And I also think, you know, there's a lot of people in government, in the world, and law firms that are way smarter than me. And I imagine they're sitting there thinking about it, and they're like, if we come out and do this, people are going to say it's political. They're going to politicize it. Oh, you're a Trump supporter. That's why you're going after Cuomo. Nobody thinks, like right now, before the election, nobody thinks anybody does anything that's not political, that wouldn't be like beneficial for themselves or their community. It's got to be political. Well, why does it have to be political? People just want to feed their family, and Murphy and Cuomo and Lamont and the rest of them on the East Coast up north aren't allowing them to do that.
There's the two greatest things about New York is the theater and restaurants, the entertainment industry. And they have to have somewhere to eat. So the three things that are most affected that fuel New York is the theater, as far as tourists are concerned, the theater, restaurants, and hotels. They single-handedly killed that whole thing. And that the money involved that they threw away with that is in the billions and billions of dollars. And so many people, when you talk about those businesses, most of the people, 90% who are in that business, in some way, the delivery guy, the waiter, the cook, even the B actors and the ticket people, they don't make a lot of money. They just put those people out of work by the tens of thousands, maybe 100,000 in New York alone. Easy. I mean, some of these hotels are 60 stories high and they have 10 rooms on each. You know how many people are employed by that one hotel? All the hotels are done. Yeah. It's amazing.
Even locally here, the Ritz-Carlton here in Sarasota, about a month after COVID started, laid off 500 people. And that's Sarasota. That's not New York. That's one place, 500 people.
So these
people, can you imagine the numbers in New York?
They have so trashed their cities that it's absolutely criminal. And they should be sued. They should be sued personally. They should sue the city. The city should never be able to recover from this lawsuit. And everybody should say, okay, there's no way we could elect anymore a Democrat for the governor mayor. But I also believe that that's fixed. I got to believe that the elections are fixed. There's no reason why these people keep on getting in. When you see the mayor of Chicago, are you kidding me? Did anybody ever look at that person and say, this is a leader? This is the person we need? It's insane.
It is. Honestly, I'm not going to lie and sit here and say, oh, I knew who she was before all this. I didn't know who she was. But then when all this nonsense started, with all the violence and the protests and the riots and the COVID, and she comes out to do her daily, I said, who is that? And they said, that's the mayor. I said, that's the mayor of Chicago? That explained so much to me. Right there in that moment, I said, I get it. I get it all now.
But they're all the same. You know, DeBlasio has 9 people guarding the Black Lives Matter mural on the street. They're just standing there
Per shift.
Right. 5 miles away, there's kids being gunned down in the streets. No cops there. It's unbelievable.
And the thing is, when DeBlasio, Lightfoot, they started asking her questions. But when DeBlasio comes on to do his pressers, I would say 8 out of 10 reporters don't even bring up the violence. They don't bring up, they're right in their pocket. They don't bring it up. And when they do bring it up, a couple of weeks ago, they asked him about the rash of violence, and he blamed it on friggin' people being locked down for Corona. They're like, well, people got stir crazy. Oh, is that why a 1-year-old boy got shot while he was in his carriage, in his stroller?
I go stir crazy. I go fishing. I don't go shoot the neighborhood up. You know, they all talk about science too. There is a science to crime, to fighting crime. There's a real science to it. Detectives go to school for it. The people go to John Jay College for criminal law, and then they become part of the police force. There's a real science behind it. They threw it completely out the window. Let's take cops away. First thing that happens, everyone knows it. The first day you study law, crime goes up because the gangs take over. There's money to be made. and they're just letting it happen. Chicago, they're letting the gangs run the streets. Now New York, the gangs run the streets. And it's going to, if nothing happens in New York, it's the next Detroit. It'll be done.
Yeah. And speaking of Detroit, you notice that there's been no rioting, no protesting done in Detroit. Detroit's been the quietest city in the union since all this started. Me too. Until I saw the Detroit police chief went on, I think it was Laura's show on Fox, the 10 o'clock show.
Laura Ingle,
yeah. The Angle, whatever.
Ingram. The Dingle Dangle.
Yeah. Yeah. And she asked him, she's like, and mind you, because everybody does identity politics, I do too. He's a black police chief. So they asked him, you know, how come your city, with all its reputation and everything that's gone down, how come there no violence or no riots? He said, well, we won't allow that to happen. And we let our citizens know that they will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law should they go out and riot and do whatever nonsense they wanted to do.
Let me tell you, as bad as any city is, I don't care what city you say, their police force. In fact, the worse the city, the tougher and the braver their police force is. So if you give any police force, if you unchain their hands and you say, go out there and stop the crime. I don't care what police force it is in the United States. In 1 week, crime would be stopped. If you told the guy in Chicago, listen, you got to stop the crime. Whatever you do, we're behind you. I guarantee you in a week, crime's down 500%.
I couldn't agree with you more.
I guarantee you.
Yeah, if they just untied their hands. I mean, they show this video of New York City cops standing around while I guess it was some 13 or 14-year-old girl was getting beaten by other girls her age. And the cops are just standing around watching. I'm not going to lie. I don't blame them because the minute they put their hands on, they're in trouble.
He was definitely told to stand down. These cops don't do that. These cops react.
Of course they would.
They do it.
Absolutely.
You have to have a love. You have to have a love for other people to help people to be a cop. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's like a calling. So to do that to them, it rips their heart out not to do it. Right. But, you know, that's what they're doing now to the inner cities. They're taking the cops, they're tying their hands. And I guarantee you, if you untie their hands in every city would be safe if you let the cops do their job.
110%. Listen, the New York Police Department, the NYPD, is second to none. They have the most talented, the smartest, the toughest cops in the nation, up there with Chicago and Detroit and all the tough cities. And I got friends on the force, and I interviewed one of them a while ago, and he said that there's no cop, no matter what police department they're in, whether they're in Alabama, Oklahoma, LA, whatever, no cop ever starts their shift by saying, well, I'm going to go out here today and I'm going to kill myself a black person. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. I don't care how racist the city, the state, the mayor, it doesn't happen. Cops do not do that.
Well, I gotta say that all of these cities, it's a big money game. What happens is if there is crime and there is urban blight in their area, that's where the money starts to flow. In New York, now there's really bad neighborhoods. It's been bad for a little while since DeBlasio took over, worse and worse. So what happens? He gets money for social programs. And anytime you get money for 10 social programs, it's so easy to steal. His wife got $85 million that are missing. She can't
$850
million.
Yeah.
Can't account for it. That's the game. Yeah. If you set up all of these things and you just throw money at it, you tell this guy, I'm going to give you $50 million. I make sure I get 10% back. No problem. We'll build a schoolyard. Who gives a shit? And that's all it is. The more crime, the more money the mayor makes getting federal money, skimming it off of programs. It's a horrible game. Kids die from this program. more than and than any other pro, and they make money, and that's the name of the game. You look at these mayors, they come in, they make 180 grand a year. 5 years later, the guy's got $50 million in the bank. I got a D in math. I know that that's not right.
So I was just gonna say, Obama, when he got into office, he was worth right around the $1 million mark, right around $1 million, maybe 900, 1.1, something like that. I don't want these liberals to come and bite my head off. No, he was worth 1.3, whatever. When he left office, he was worth north of $80 million on a $450,000 salary. I mean, I get it.
You got Putin giving him an envelope for uranium. You got the Chinese giving them money to say, keep the tariffs low. Mm-hmm. All of these guys are the same. It's a big money grab. The greatest thing to ever happen to this country is when a businessman starts to run the country. He runs it like a business. He sees, that nobody can grab, because that's what a business is. Washington, businessman, landowner, all the original guys. And then when it started to change from big businessmen to career politicians, that's when the country started to slide. And now it's out of hand. But thank God you got a guy like Trump, doesn't need the money. All he wants to do is run it right. And that's the only thing that saved this country. That's it.
He's the only president that ever came into office, and this is from Washington counting all the way on. He's the only president that lost money being the president of the United States. I mean, that should tell you a lot, but nobody talks about it because, let's see your taxes. Why? Why are they so concerned with his taxes? What are they looking for?
About his taxes?
I could care less.
He's a businessman. Yeah. His job is to get around paying taxes. Mm-hmm. That's his job.
Yeah, absolutely.
To make money for his company and pay the left. And now the only thing they could do to him now is they keep throwing race at him. Keep throwing
That's all
it
they
at
got.
him. And it never sticks. No. It never sticks. The guy is the least racist guy. Let me tell you something. I don't know, never mind another president. I don't know another human being that has been investigated as far as ethics, as far as money, as far as anything in his whole life, and nothing has come up. I don't know another human being. There's no one in Washington, if you crawled up their ass like they crawled up Trump's ass, they wouldn't have came out. They came out with nothing. I'm shocked. I can't believe it.
And you're a fan. And you're a supporter.
This guy's like the most honest guy. Every lawyer in Washington was looking for something on him. You know what they got on him? An A&E clip from 10 years ago, doing a little talk with the guy saying, because he's a playboy. You can grab them by the pussy. And he's grabbing pussies.
Everybody starts wearing a pussy hat and all this, the meat. But wait, that's funny that you brought that up, because let's do timeline here. Because right then and there is when this BS Me Too movement started. And you know when it ended? When Tara Reid accused Joe Biden of sexual harassment. That's when the Me Too movement died. I haven't heard a damn thing about it. It's unreal.
And the whole thing with the race, I'm very disappointed in professional athletes for buying in to the race thing. And I'll tell you why. If there's one thing in this whole world that transcends race, it's sports. Mm-hmm. I grew up in an all-Italian neighborhood in Brooklyn. I'm not going to say there weren't people who were racist. Okay? The Irish were racist. The Italians were racist. The blacks were racist. Okay? But you go out, you bought a black guy's jersey. You loved him. You loved Michael Jordan. I loved OJ. He's in the Bronco. I'm like, there's no way. I fucking love OJ. It transcends race. It transcends politics. You would get guys from Cuba coming over to pitch They were communists. You didn't care. I love that guy. So if there was one thing that transcends all racism, is sports. Little kids loving black, loving Asian athletes, loving, it didn't matter. As long as they were great, it was so pure. And they fucked it up. They took it and they said, I don't care. We are all about race now. It doesn't belong in sports. There's one place it don't belong. It's sports.
No, 100%. And, you know, the athletes come on here and, you know, I love sports. I'm a Brooklyn guy, you know, Giants, Mets, Knicks, Rangers, those are my teams. But when I saw the Mets and the Yankees wearing the Black Lives Matter t-shirts during batting practice, listen, I love sports, not that much. I haven't watched a single pitch.
I'm sour.
Yep.
I'm sour now. I used to be the biggest Yankee fan. People go on Facebook, Freddie, what do you think about the Yankees? I go, I gotta be honest with you. I haven't seen the last 3 games.
Yeah.
You know, I soured. I can't, don't bring race into it. Do I care that Jeter is half black, is half white? Don't care. Love Jeter. Carlos Stanton, I don't even know what he is.
Doesn't matter.
When you make it political, when you force down a 6-year-old kid's throat a racial issue when he came to the ballpark because it's America's pastime, you have lost it. You have no idea what sports is really about. Sports is supposed to transcend it all. And basketball, I don't understand.
Basketball lost me. They put that BLM on the court up there in Orlando.
I can't identify with it. I got to be honest. I can't identify with all these black athletes with the thug tattoos all over and Black Lives Matter and I don't need white. I can't identify with that. I just want to watch a Knick game. That's all.
Yeah. You know, AOC, this idiot, another one who she's mad because the DNC's only given her 60 seconds. My opinion is 60 seconds too much for her to talk tonight. But she came out and she said, you know, the working class, they don't need billionaires, but billionaires need the working class. This idiot realized that it's the billionaires that make the jobs for the working class? Does she know that?
Well, you know what she should ask? Cuomo, because Cuomo's on his knees now with his mouth open telling the millionaires, come back, pee on me, do anything you want, come back to New York.
What did he say to them? He said, I'll cook you dinner.
I'll be your bitch, he's saying. I'll be your bitch. And you know what they say? I don't need a bitch. I need to go. Listen, these people, I worked in New York for 40 years in construction. There are $50 million condos in New York. There are townhouses that are $80 million.
Yep.
These are owned by people who make a very good living in New York. Fifth Avenue's closed. All these office buildings are empty because they won't let them go to work. And these people are saying, I got 18 people shitting in front of my $80 million townhome. I don't have to stay.
Right.
I'll go live somewhere else.
Yeah, because they can afford it. They can do that.
That's it. They could lock the $80 million townhouse and walk away from it, and it won't hurt them.
And chances are it's already paid off.
They're doing it. There's people who own 3 condos, $50 million each. You know what they did? I'm not living there. I'll go up to Westchester or I'll go to Carolina and hang out there for the next 5 years. And now Cuomo's on his knees. Please, please, I'll be your bitch. I'll cook for you. I'll wear a dress while I'm washing your car. Anything. And
I'll dance the Irish jig for you if you want. Just come back.
It doesn't work. They're all about money. You fucked up the money, we're gone.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they did. They don't care. What they want to do, and the way the Democrats think, and this is what's gonna mess them up. If the elections aren't rigged on November 3rd, this is what's gonna kill them. The majority of this country knows, is 100% sure that a Democrat in office will raise our taxes by a solid 30%. A solid 30%.
Oh, yeah. Biden's talking about 70% tax on people who make middle-class salaries.
Yeah, because they want to fund this ridiculous Green New Deal that's going to cost $94 trillion over 10 years. Social Security is going broke. Medicare is going broke. Where the hell are we getting $94 trillion to fund this Green New fantasy, this fairy tale that they're talking about?
Let me tell you something. The thing that is the most important right now is the Second Amendment, because you can't have free speech anymore.
Right.
You can't, anything goes. The only thing that's holding this whole country together is the right to bear arms. Because if they could, they would just do whatever they want right now. So now you see people buying guns at a rate that's never before.
Bullets are back ordered. Bullets, 9mm bullets are back ordered. I'm happy I stocked up
1,000 rounds, okay, a month ago. You know when it's coming? In October.
At least it's before the election. You need to be prepared.
9mm slugs. Go to Chicago. The bodies are full of them. Go to the morgue in Chicago.
Pull them out. Chris Rock said it a long time ago on one of his comedy specials. He goes, "You want to know how you get murders down? You make every bullet $5,000." He goes, then if he gets killed, he goes, that bastard earned it. He deserved to die.
That's the truth.
I'm telling you. I want to cover one more thing before we go here. 30 minutes flies like nothing when I'm talking to you, Freddie. Did you see these savages? And that's what they are. They're savages in Seattle and in Minnesota. This guy, John Thompson, on his bullhorn, screaming out how the white people in the neighborhood better give their house up to the black people as reparations. This guy, John Thompson in Minnesota, he's running for state senate. I just posted this video. He's in front of yelling at these 13, 14-year-old girls who are looking at him scared, talking about, we're taking your motherfucking house, this, that, mother effing them up and down the road. That's not a problem? That's not racist? That's not terroristic?
Of course it is. And you know what these guys don't realize? All of these thugs in like Black Lives Matter and all of these thugs that are anarchists and say you're going to have to give up everything, they don't understand one thing about America. We got balls. We fucking fought the Nazis. We fought the Japanese. We go anywhere we want. We're not scared. That's why they don't go to the suburbs. Yeah. Because the suburbs are like, if you come in my yard, you're getting shot, and you know it. Yeah. And they kind of know, but you can't make us be afraid like that. We all have fucking guns. We all don't give a shit, just like you don't give a shit. The only thing is that we got more to lose. You want to come, what do you own? You own a fucking a car, and you live in an apartment somewhere.
If their car didn't get repoed already.
The government. We have a fucking life savings, and we have kids, and we have college fucking things going on. We'll fucking shoot your ass.
Yeah.
I
say this one day.
Right, but it's not going to happen.
One day, our patients, and when I say our, I mean the people with common sense, the Trump supporters.
Citizens.
Yeah, the ordinary citizens, our patience is going to run out. And when that happens, BLM, Antifa, and their supporters are going to be nothing but a footnote because they don't stand a chance against us.
Well, listen, the biggest thing that happened was when they went into that private place, the private community, tore the fence down, and there's 50-year-old white guy and his wife with the guns saying, I don't give a fuck. Yeah. You think you're afraid? You think we're afraid? We're not. We're armed to the teeth, and we don't give a shit.
Yeah, you're not going to threaten us.
And another thing, a quick thing. If you're in a car and they come onto your car and they're hitting it and they're trying to grip, hit the fucking gas pedal. I'm sick of seeing these stupid fucking white people being dragged out of their car. Step on the fucking gas. It's a car. It's 2,000 pounds.
Yeah, you win. That's it. You win.
Don't get out. Don't get out. I don't understand how I constantly see than fucking stopping and getting out. I know you don't want to run people over, but when it comes to the point where they get violent on your car, just hit the fucking gas. I got to make up a shirt. Hit the fucking gas.
That's it. Honestly, if that guy, well, you know what? That guy in Portland, he did do that, but then he ended up wrecking his car halfway up the block. They chased him, dragged him out of his car, and I think he died today.
Oh, yeah?
Honestly. Yeah, I just heard right before I came on with you, I was reading something. I think he passed away. I hope I'm wrong.
But they were chasing the car, and he tried to swerve to miss the other protesters. That's why he hit the tree. It's over. Missing people is over when you're afraid for your fucking life.
Yeah, when you're protecting yourself, all bets are off.
Hit the fucking gas.
Well, that was a quick 30, Freddie. Thank you so much. Listen, all my people in New Jersey, New York, catch Freddie Friday, September 18th, 2020 at the Trump National Golf Course in Pine Hill, New Jersey. Anything else you want to add to that, Freddie?
Yes, go to my Facebook page, Fred Rubino, GTFOH. It's my fan page. Every Monday, I have a cooking show. Every Wednesday, I have a live question and answer Wednesday. And every Sunday, I have a Zoom cocktail party where it's on Zoom. It's off Facebook. We could talk about anything we want. We have a cocktail and we have live interaction, just like this is. It's getting very popular. So I hope a lot more people join me. Sunday night cocktail party.
Well, Freddie, cheers to you. Good luck with everything. And I imagine let's talk one more time before your gig and 2 more times before the election, because I'm sure a lot of nonsense will happen before then.
Pine Hill Golf Course, September 18th, baby.
Cheers to you, my friend. Thank you.
Take care, pal.
All right.